Welcome to D. Holloway's Life Takeover, where it's never too late to pursue life on your own terms and your own time because you absolutely deserve it. Let's get into this video. I believe in God, and I do consider myself to be a Christian, but I'm no biblical scholar by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, I rarely even read the Bible these days, but I'm always amazed at how two different people can read a Bible verse and they can come away with a totally different interpretation, or they pick and choose what's literal in the Bible and what's not to be taken literally. For example, if your eye causes you to sin, tear it out because it's better to have one eye in heaven than to have two eyes in hell. Or if your foot causes you to sin, cut it off because it's better to be lame in heaven than to have 2 feet in hell. I'm paraphrasing here, so y'all cut me some grace. Let's just say there are some sayings that I firmly believe were not meant to be taken literally, or they were overcome by events, like the risk of being thrown into a mental institution for cutting off your feet and gouging out your eyes. So I like to learn about and talk about money. And there's a particular verse in the Bible that says, the rich rule over the poor and the borrower is slave to the lender. I hear financial experts say this all the time on YouTube, and I do not believe that is 100% true today. Perhaps this was a different time when individuals didn't have equal access to the laws or loopholes or consumer rights, and people were afraid they were going to get their hands and their head chopped off for not paying their debt. The first reason I don't believe that the borrower is slave to the lender is because you cannot force people to pay you unless you're going to be implementing some type of mob tactics. Quick story, about 20 years ago, I had a homeboy come to me and said, man, I need to borrow $500. I said, cool. I only have one rule, and that's we agree on a date that you pay it back, and that same energy that you had when you came and asked me for the money, I need you to have that same energy when bringing the money back. I'm not going to be calling you, asking you about it. I want you to just bring the money back. He said, cool. So in the meantime, he's flying back and forth every couple of weeks to see his girlfriend out of town, and eventually time goes on, and the due date passes, and I didn't hear from him. So after a while, I decided that I was going to give him a call and just see what's up. I left him a voice message, didn't hear back from him. And then after a while, he finally hit me back and said, man, my sister ran into an issue, so I had to help her out. And I'm working on getting that money for you. So after a month or two of being late, he finally hit me up and said, man, I got that money for you. I just need you to drive up here to this cigar shop that I'm hanging out at, and you can get that money. So I said, cool. So it was about a 30-minute trip to go up there, and he was chilling, living his best life, smoking cigars, having drinks, playing pinball, smoozing with the regulars. And finally, he gave me my money and had a couple of drinks with him, and then I headed out. Now, does this sound like a slave to you? This dude was living his best freaking life, and I was the one who had to hunt him down for the money. Before I go into more examples of why I don't believe the borrower is slave to the lender, check out this quick public service announcement. If you've been thinking about breaking out of the matrix and living life on your own terms and your own time, consider subscribing to my channel where we're going to share a ton of life lessons, money lessons, as well as the journey. Also, if you take something of value from this video, please like and share with your friends and your family. Now back to the video. Another reason I don't believe the borrower is slave to the lender is because of the 2008 financial crisis. Foreclosures were at an all-time high during this time. There were millions and millions upon people at this time who just stopped paying their mortgage. And I'm not even saying that they left the house. They just stopped paying their mortgage. Banks and lenders were having to beg these people to pay. They were offering these people loan modifications to reduce their payment. They were letting people sell the house for less than what was owed on it. There was nothing that the banks could do, and they were overwhelmed by the number of people in this situation. No matter what lenders or their investors did, they could not force people to make payments on their mortgages. Entire financial institutions like Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns and their investors who bought these mortgage-backed securities that were filled with toxic, bad loans were wiped out. Tens of thousands of people who worked for these institutions lost their job. Again, how does that sound like the borrower is slave to the lender? People just walked away from their debts or either became renters, and in some cases, they went and bought another house at rock bottom prices. In the meantime, lenders, investors, financial institutions crashed and needed a bailout to survive. Another reason I don't believe that the borrower is slave to the lender is because of bankruptcy laws. A business that has no future of getting out of the hole and is doomed to fail because it doesn't have the assets to meet its obligations is a great candidate for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. This business could have loans that it owes, leases, contracts, overdue accounts, credit cards, and all sorts of other business debts. This business could be flat broke because of bad business decisions because of the owners, or it could be market conditions like the 2008 financial crisis. At the completion of that process, the remaining debts that are not able to be covered by the assets of the business are just written off. The creditors can't get paid if there are no assets to pay them with. Unless the owners have made themselves personally liable for the business, they are off scot-free. They can't have their personal assets taken. For lenders and creditors, they may have loaned the business money, could have been real estate, could have been equipment, could have been credit, and they got screwed over in the end. I wasn't surprised to find that Chapter 7 bankruptcies were the most common filing of bankruptcies for individuals and businesses. Again, this doesn't sound like the borrower is the slave to the lender to me. I could go on with other examples like the COVID-19 pandemic. I had renters who were about $10,000 in debt to me, and there was nothing I can do because there was a moratorium on evictions. I just had to eat that $10,000 until the renter made me whole. And I had some renters who wouldn't even participate in filling out the rental assistance application, and we were trying to fill it out for them. That doesn't sound like a slave to me. I was a slave chasing them for my rent money. Now, I understand that the borrower doesn't get off free and clear. There is some pain involved, but for some people, having a bad credit score is not the end of the world. They just chalk it up to the game. It's not like you're going to go to jail for not paying your credit card bill or paying your house note. I hope I didn't upset any ultra-religious people. That's not my intent. I just like to challenge traditional and mainstream thinking sometimes. Is it an absolute fact that the borrower is slave to the lender in your opinion? Go ahead and drop me a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. In the meantime, take care and be safe in these social media streets.